Okay, thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to introduce myself and also to outline some of the reasons why or the intentions I have, why I am going into the elections and putting my hand up for the people to decide. Basically, my name is Michael Caigo Bongro. Bongro is the surname, and I started my employment with the then Department of Environment and Conservation back in 2001. And then I have spent the last 22 years, 21 years with the department before I resigned last year to actually put my hand up to contest in this national general election. I worked as a young officer, joined the department as a resource economist back then in 2001. And then eventually or gradually made my way up to become the director of special projects, in charge of the development partners and donor engagements in the country until the time that I resigned. Basically, my job revolves around dealing with multinational or multilateral organizations whose interest is in the field of environmental management, biodiversity conservation work, globally as well as nationally. So when other countries, when development partners or those our development partners as well as those agents or foreign aid agencies wanting to invest in those areas, they normally come direct through the office of our CEO, and then comes directly to my office or my desk, serves as the focal point to have discussions with those people, and then coming in and then making those have those discussions and then identify areas where those investments can be made. And as part of my duties and responsibilities, it took me to travel throughout 29 countries in the world, representing Papua New Guinea, to attend those multilateral international conventions or conferences representing the country, and also while representing the countries, representing our country, I also market our country, saying that, like in terms of climate change issues, environmental management issues, or biodiversity conservation issues, in light of the current global crisis or global issues, emerging global issues. So during my participation at such conferences, I informed the world about the country, because not many of those countries, they do not know where Papua New Guinea is. So the reference points would be, between Australia and Indonesia. So what I basically do is inform these other countries in the world, or the global community, that if you have funding or if you have funds available to make investments in the areas of biodiversity conservation work, environmental management work, or as well as climate change issues, you might as well consider Papua New Guinea, to make investments in this regard as well. So after attending those conferences, coming back, given the global technologies we communicate through video conferencing or Zoom calling, all those things, and then eventually making sure that our country, Papua New Guinea, gets funding assistance from those multilateral organizations to actually implement for projects to be implemented in the country. So that's basically, in a nutshell, what I do as in my capacity as the director responsible for special projects in this country. Now, that's basically what I do as in my official capacity as a public servant. Thank you. my intention to go into politics is it's not a overnight sort of decision that I come up with. I have spent well over 2 decades living in Port Moresby, particularly so with the settlement, spending the entire life at the settlement areas. I spent 3 years moving from one settlement to the other. Started at 9 Mile, and then moving around to 8 Mile back. So all the major settlements in Port Moresby Northeast, I have resided in those areas, and I have seen the problems that are prevalent. Social issues, things like lack of basic government services, including water and power, and health facilities. You have to have stand in the queue. Our sick patients have to stand in the queue for quite a very long time before they have been attended to in terms of getting treatment. So all those things, basic essential services that our mandated leaders are supposed to deliver, they failed that miserably. They really have failed. So my intention or my decision to put my hand up for the people of Northeast to decide is basically because of the fact that the basic things that's supposed to be provided for the benefit of for our people to consume or to benefit from have not been provided by our successive leaders. So having realized those, I feel that I should put my hand up and let the people decide. And should I be given the mandate, I have highlighted, I've actually, as part of my campaign strategy or policies, I've highlighted 5 major issues, which I think, if these issues can be addressed, will solve some of the problems that our people are currently facing, which I can highlight in the later part of this interview. But I see that basic services that people supposed to benefit, or the government supposed to, our leaders supposed to provide to our people have not been doing it. So that has prompted me to put my hand up. Thank you. And I think this is a very good question. I have been approached by 6 different political parties, some of the major political parties that we currently have. Now, I have talked to the general secretaries, the executives of these parties. I've talked to those parties that have shown interest. I've spoken to the general secretaries, and I've told them that I have made up my mind to put this contest in this election because there's some things that I see that are supposed to be provided for our people are not there. So, and I spoke to them at length, and I was not convinced. I was not convinced by the response that I get from the people. So, and then I said that no, I think I'd rather contest as an independent candidate. Of the 5 major policy pillars that I have, in a nutshell, the first one is I aim to build 1,000 homes for 1,000 lucky families residing within the Northeast District. Every year, 1,000 homes until at the end of the 5 years term in Parliament or as the mandated leader. I was thinking I will build 5,000 homes for 5,000 lucky families. I have initiated discussions with the UN World Habitat, and discussion is currently ongoing. The UN World Habitat have indicated or demonstrated their willingness to build partnership in this particular arrangement. So, like if the district can provide under my leadership, we can provide 1 home, and then the UN World Habitat may come in to put two homes. So in a way, like my dream to provide 1,000 homes for 1,000 lucky families every year, it will be 3,000 homes. It will be 3,000 homes. So at the end of the 5 years, 15,000 lucky families from Northeast will have benefit through this partnership arrangement. Now, if you multiply let's say five individuals or 5 family members residing in a house or in a decent house, 2-bedroom unit, you multiply that by 15,000, you get something like 75,000. So you provide shelter for 75,000 individuals who will benefit through this program. And that's basically my first pillar policy. Second is on the education. Now, education, I have targeted a specific group, and my target group is for those students who are currently doing grade 8, grade 9, grade 10, grade 11, and grade 12. Now, it is my dream, or it is my ambition that there will be no school dropouts over the next 5 years when I'm in office. Basically, there'll be no grade 8 dropouts, there'll be no grade 10 dropouts, there'll be no grade 12 dropouts. Meaning that the education formal system, through the formal system, we definitely will have 2/3 of the students that are in grade 8. At the end of this year, they will not make it. They'll be seen as school leavers or failures. Likewise will be for the grade 10s and likewise for the grade 12s as well. Not all grade 12s will enter universities and colleges. While 2/3 will go back, or 1/3 will make it through, 2/3 will come back and join the community. So when this happens, when this group of students come back to the settlements or go and join the big group, you see, they feel that they don't have any future. So then they engage themselves in other activities like smoking marijuana or engage in some other activities which is not good to the society. So my dream is to making sure that district under the DSIP component of 2 million kina, that 2 million kina component under the DSIP funding arrangement will automatically become the district scholarship program. So the students who leave grade 8 and who are not successful in going into grade 9, they will benefit through this program. Likewise for the grade 10s and also the grade 12s. So the dropouts from the formal system and who are considered as failures or dropouts, the district scholarship program provides the contingency plan for them to continue their education. So I'm branded this program as Live Your Dream program. So the next 5 years, the Moresby Northeast District will not produce any school leavers. There'll be no dropouts. So whoever the formal system rejects them, the district scholarship program backs them up, and it will provide the support that is needed for that kid or for that individual student to continue their studies. So what my team is currently doing now, we have provided, I think the form is there. So we have designed a format, and we are building the database of getting the student's name, what grade they are in now, which school they are attending, and which area in Northeast they are currently residing, so residential area. So in this way, we build a database of students currently enrolled in all these secondary schools and in the primary schools. So once we have the database, and as I speak, we already have students coming in and enrolling, and the number exceeds more than 800 of them now. So there are many. As soon as word gets out, many students are coming in now to enroll and be registered on our database. So my plan is to, when academic year begins next year, and when I'm declared as the member for Northeast come July, August, I will then have already a well-established database of students from my district who have been rejected by the formal system. Commencement of academic year next year, they will bring their certificates over, get their certificates, type their names onto our database. Our database also records, captures the portrait of the student or a picture of the student, so it will reflect. So whoever that brings the certificate, once we type the name, their face also appears as well. So then we know that that student is this particular student. John cannot be Peter, it's John there. So that's why we've designed the program. So next year, when this kid feels that he drops out or she drops out from the formal system, brings his or her certificate, she or he automatically gets the support from the district to pursue their studies. So that's why I said that there'll be no dropouts in Port Moresby Northeast over the next 5 years. Now that is for education, and also we have programs for the health. I also intend to have a life insurance policy cover for the Port Moresby, my constituents, the entire Port Moresby Northeast. But if you look at it, the total population for Port Moresby Northeast, it exceeds 100,000. So we cannot provide all the life insurance cover for everyone in Port Moresby Northeast. I've made a decision, and I am now currently negotiating with one of the well-established insurance companies in this country, who have their head office in downtown. And my discussion with the CEO is that I will, if we can go into partnership. So I am intending, I'm determined to provide 500 life insurance policy for my constituents. So we'll trial it out, we'll pilot it with 500 lives, and then we see how we go. So if we see that there are, more deaths happening in, many more people are dying in Northeast exceeding 500, then the subsequent year we might look at increasing the number. But if they are less than 500, then we might leave it at 500. So the CEO has actually agreed to trial this one out with me and that particular insurance company. So what I intend to do is, because over the last 20 years that I worked here, I also engage in charity work as well. And one of those charity activities that I engage is, apart from sponsoring social games, attending to customary obligations and stuff, I also attend to Auskaraya, Auskaraya. And so far I have attended more than 250, close to 300 Auskarayas already, So, and in those times that I attend all those activities, in the year, that doesn't tell us when it will come. So it's just like another almost still manna. So it just comes at its own timing when we are least prepared for it. So, and then I see that a lot of these, people who lose their loved ones, they are so grieved. And when I see this, like, they are not prepared. So, and many of these people, they are not formally employed. They all live in settlements and this kind of thing. So when I go out of my way to assist this kind of people, I feel that something can be done at a higher level to actually look after all those people. So that's why I've realized that, and I said that no, we will. If I am elected as the Moresby Northeast MP, then I think about time we should start putting in place a life insurance policy to cover for all deaths, all get and die come up notice. This is what we will do. And my discussion with that particular insurance company, they have agreed that any death, any resident from my electorate, whether it be he or she is from Bougainville or Rabaul, Kimbe, Manus, Keviang, Sipik, Lei Morobe, or the entire islands region, Simpu Goroka, all the way to Ella and Wabek. Whoever that is a resident of my electorate and they happen to pass on, the insurance company will provide 5 return tickets for both ways, for the families to accompany the dead body home to the province of origin. One part of the package that we have discussed is that the deceased will be given the coffin, the air freight for the body to be transported home or to be flown home, as well as 1 week food ration supply, so it cannot go beyond 2 weeks. So these are some of the things that we discussed. That will also be covered under the premium package for the policy, insurance policy. Okay, so that's for the health component. The fourth one is on the SME. Now, the current practice that is currently being promoted by our government, and particularly so with our governor and with the current member for Northeast, is that they have, for me, I must be frank, that they have abused our mothers, our sisters, basically our women folk. They've asked them to go into associations, form associations or form groups, women groups or mother groups, and then get themselves registered, go and open their bank accounts and all those things. And the process is so tedious, and it's very, very cumbersome for those mothers to comply with. So in the process, they've expended, they've spent a lot of their money, own personal money, to making sure that they are part of a group, a recognized group. And when, and the benefits as expected are not given to them. So I went out of my own way to support 9 mothers group or women groups, 9 of them, and I have spent 18,000 kina from my own pocket to assist these mothers. And I gave 2,000 each to the 9 different mothers or women groups, and telling them, I'm not interested in knowing how much money you have spent, whether it be more, it be less. That I have no interest in knowing. But seeing the problem that you guys you are faced with, and because of this, you come into a stage you almost give up. So I'm just assisting you out of my good heart. So you go back, do your own marketing, selling buai or cigarettes, or make ice blocks and sell them, all those things. Go and live your own life, and while you wait for the windfall that the government promised you. So that's what I've been doing to this different 9 mother groups, women groups. And if I had more money, I would have supported many of these groups as well. But because being a simple public servant, I just feel sorry for them, so I went out of my way to assist them. But having realized that this big problem, I have came up with the decision to redirect the SME approach. So should our people for Northeast, they vote me in as their leader. Now, my policy on the SME approach is that it will be tailored towards meeting family needs. Now, what do I mean by that? And that is like, for instance, if for those of us that are residents of Northeast, there are only few major marketplaces like Gorens, ATS, East Boroko, Makana Morobe, 9 Mile. Those are major centers, marketplaces. So if someone decides to buy chicken, or if you want to go to the market to buy chicken, if you go one day, you will see different families selling chicken there. So you go one day, and then after a few days later you go there, you will still see the same family that will also be selling. So my thing is that because raising chicken and selling them to make to make a living out of it, to me, that could be the only informal way of making income for themselves. And then with the income that they probably spend it on meeting some other needs as well. So my thing is that how I intend to roll out the SME is that we send a team of youths or workman district. They'll go out, carry out a survey. It may take them 1 month, so 2 months or 3 months would be the maximum. So they go in, visit all the markets, and then interview the people that are selling the chicken. Now, every time they go, they might probably see the same old family there. So they will get the pictures or sorts of the family that are selling there, maybe the head of the family, a man or married. And then they get it, and then they get their names down. And then a week later, they go back. If they see the same people there, they do the same thing. And then say 1 month goes, and then 2 months, and then maybe 3 months. And if you see that the same people are selling this chicken, and then it will give you a fair idea of how many families in Northeast are engaged in raising chicken as the primary source of income for their sustainability or for sustaining their livelihoods within the city. So I've been realized that, and once we have a concrete data sets of an estimate number of how many families are involved in that, and then my intention is because it will be oriented towards meeting family needs. So we might write out one check under the SME program, give it to probably FarmSet or maybe right straight to Mainland Holdings in Ley, or Genek in Ley, who are producing this day-old chicks. Maybe I plane, bring everything over, and then call that and inform the people that are raising the chicken. And while in the process of the interview, they will know we are doing this because we want to roll out the SME program along the median family needs. So once we have that, we bring in the day-old chicken. We organize that day a particular venue. Everybody goes there, call their names, type their names in the face matches with the name, and then you give out maybe 3 or 4 boxes of day-old chicken together, probably with 2 bags of starter and 2 bags of finisher, and that's it. They go, they're happy. Because they're selling chicken because they already have the house, and they already have those utensils that provides the feed to the chicken house. Place block, some water, feed nuts like and so they all have this at home. So that's why they are raising chicken. So we only encourage and promote their interests. We tell them what you are doing. If you are happy and you are content that this is your source of income, I see that the district can support, only promote and enhance where their interest is. And not everybody will raise chicken. There may be others like Olmamas or Salim Blausen. These mothers, they know how to cut the material up and then how to sew it up. So after similar thing, you identify the total number of mothers who are engaged in this activity. And then after 1, 2 months or 3 months of survey, it will indicate you will have a fair idea of how many mothers are engaged. So you just write out one check, give it to Brian Bell, tell them, you go there, call your name, and once they type your name, see that your face matches with what is on record, then you can pick up a sewing machine maybe. So all those things. So my way of thinking of rolling out the SMEs is totally different from the current practice. Or you look at, like I live in the settlement, so when it is heavy dry season, dry weather, you see everybody who are in the settlements, they all go and toil the land. They go into gardening, and then they produce cabbage, Chinese cabbage or pajoy or everything, and then they wake up early as 5, 6 in the morning, go to their garden, and then every afternoon they're always there. And then whatever produce that they produce from the garden or the blocks, they sell them to the markets, and then they make them living from there. But then you see, the problem again is the money that they make from the sale of their vegetables, they don't spend it, they don't use all this money to go and spend it on buying something else that they need. Because they have to make a budget. They might say, okay, half of that they might spend it in meeting other needs, and then the other half of the income, they're also worried about going back and buying the seeds again, and then going to nursery and all those things. So my thinking is that if you have to assist these marginalized people at the settlement, at our settlements, you just identify, going to send out people, send out all students or some people to go and carry out a good survey. Go and talk to one time on, see how many people are engaged in producing this, engaged in toiling the land and then produce all those vegetables. So once you give a tally of how many people are there, just the district can write one check, give it to FarmSet or give it to Brian Bell, and then tell them that particular person or individual will go there, give the name, type the name. When the face matches the photo on the screen, they can be issued, carton or of pajoy or all those seedlings. The district must provide it, or fertilizers, or those water cans that they use to fetch water from the creek and everything. So these are simple things, but when you basic activities, but these little basic things, our people's livelihood depends on these little activities. Not those, you have packed millions of kina in BSP, in the National Development Bank. How do you expect these little people to go and access those funding? That is technically impossible. You're only promoting the business that are registered and all those things. But my way of seeing it and my way of wanting to implement this SME program will be totally different. I intend to revolutionize the SME approach for my people at Northeast. And that is the way forward for my district. And I'm determined to get it done, you see. So that small person, the little person who sees no government support, and yet by look him now, and by feel him now, and by taste him now, he or she will appreciate what his or her government is doing to assist this particular family. Yeah, it's like when I see these people, like, Berblumisa cry. Like some of us were in big offices, we had enough money to look after our family, but these people, these very people who see that who do not feel the government's presence under my leadership, they will feel and they will taste this and they will see it from their own eyes and they will feel it and they will benefit through this program. And that leads me to the final policy, which and that is also one key policy. I'd like to appeal, make this special appeal to our public servants and our educated people, public Guineans who are engaged in the private sector, who are employed, and who receive fortnightly incomes, and then they contribute to Nest Fund or NPF or Nest Fund, and for the public sector, where they contribute to number one super or POSF, all those things. If they are watching this interview, I'd like to make a special appeal to them to throw their support behind me, because of the fact that when the people of Northeast mandate me as the leader come July, if I am if I get elected come July, I intend, and I've also made some postings on my Facebook wall, that I intend to establish a legal unit within the district administrative structure. Now that legal unit will basically be overseen. It will basically be overseen the review of some of those outdated colonial laws that we have in this country, and also some of the decisions or the laws that the government has passed recently, which is so controversial, and some are very draconian in nature. It's not to serve the common good, but for me, I see that these laws are passed just to protect our MPs. So I see this as is not it's not in good spirit for the development of this country. So what I propose to do under my leadership is that when I set up this legal unit, and I already went out of my way as I speak to engage one of my good lawyers, good buddies, who is a lawyer by profession, to start reviewing the Lands Act now. Now there's much talk about evictions now. Currently is the hot topic, and every candidate in Moresby Northeast or in Port Moresby alone, they're all talking about eviction and how they're gonna sort it. But I've been listening to a lot of this, some of those who are already campaigning. They said that by me stop him, it's like eviction. Now by me give him title. Now, during late Caspar Wallum's term to date, they've been preaching about giving land title. But when you look at Moresby, this land that we have in Moresby, it's scarce. And people and companies and entities or corporations have already got titles to those lands. And our settlers now who are residing in settlements, they, at any time they can also be evicted. So our politicians and candidates capitalize on our people's ignorance by saying that you what do you mean go inside and buy me give title. Labiama, what's his name? Andrew Mal said it, he never did it. Labiama said it, he never did it. Kaupa said it, he never did it. So how can they issue land titles to our poor settlers when our settlers are residing on somebody else? And when these candidates or when these leaders are talking, preaching about issuing, giving land titles to our poor settlers, they will not give the titles because the land they do not own. The land is owned by somebody else. So my way and my approach to settling this mushrooming project problem is that I'm now starting with the review of the Lands Act, which I paid out of my own pocket to the lawyer who is currently reviewing. And I told him that you review the existing act, and then I told him my instruction is for my lawyer to come up with a private member's bill, and it must be ready so that when I am elected as the member for Northeast, I intend to move this on the floor of Parliament to get Parliament approval, to making sure that the additional clause that I intend to move it on the floor of Parliament must be accepted by Parliament to become part of the existing Lands Act. And that means that if, let's say, somebody owns a big parcel of land, for instance, Kennedy Estate, there's only one person owning a huge portion of land and is already put up in development, that's fine. But others like Buswara, for instance, you see number one super, and our settlers, they are currently in Berlin now. You see, number one super is saying that they own the land, and the customer and the settlers will be evicted anytime soon. Now, my direction or my instruction to my lawyer is that if you can come up with a clause that must say, whoever is actually residing on a land, and that whoever that is who settles a settler residing on a land that he or she doesn't have title to, but it belongs to somebody else. If we can amend this section of or insert this section of the new clause into the act, it must give recognition to the custodian rights to the person that is dwelling or who is settling on the land. The land can belong to somebody else. Let's say the land belongs to John, but then poor Nancy resides on that portion of land. Now, Nancy uses all her savings, uses all her resources to develop the very area that she resides in or resides on. And by putting up a permanent structure, the trees or the plants that is being put on the area is all grown. The kids are born in that area, and the boo-boos and also, they all, and for them, that parcel of land that they reside on, they consider it as their own. And they are not foreigners coming. These are Papua New Guineans we're talking about. So, and when you ask a kid, you ask, you blow one map. They'll say, I'm from Chimbu, I'm from Gorogo, I'm from Sibigo, I'm from Moresby. But when you ask the second question saying that, oh, Simbu lo wana map, or Gorogo lo wana map, they'll say, Miblo, Simbu lo wana, or Simbu lo 8 mile or 8 years, and they'll never, because they don't know. Though they know they're from Simbu, but they don't know which part of Simbu they come from. And this, I call them lost generations. We need to protect these lost generations. And how are we going to do it? We need to amend our existing Lands Act. And that is the reason why I actually instructed my lawyer. So, thank you. It's 21 years of planning. I initiated that process back in January 29th, 2001. And I got my inspiration from one of the great leaders in that this country produced in late David Unagi. When I was a student at the university, David Unagi was the Lord Mayor. And then, sometimes, because he's from Simbu, we Simbu Students Association or whatever activities that we have, we normally invite him to come and then, make representation and stuff. So, and then, I got my inspiration that the guy is from Simbu, and how come he even sits here in Moresby? And that was many, many years back when I was a student then. So, and when I had the opportunity of coming to Port Moresby as a young man, looking for jobs, and when I got a job with the department, then I said, no, I must prepare myself. Someday I want to put my hand up. And I told myself, no, by come 2022, by then I will be getting old and I'll become wiser and So I said, I will put my hand up. So I've actually planned this game 21 years ago. And in the process, as I said, I've spent 3 years living at 9 Mile Settlement Simbu Block. And then after 3 years there, I went up. I actually moved up to 9 Mile, where the 9 Mile clinic is. Okay, I spent another 3 years there. I came to 8 Mile, another 3 years there. I went to Makana, settlement, another 3 years there, and then I came to, brought my family to Wildlife, where we are now. I left my family there. I went all the way to 14 Mile, spent another 3 years there with the Golas, the Simbus, and the Simbus and some Gorogas, Eastern Islanders there. After 3 years there, I came to Moresby block, spent another 3 years there, and then now I'm going into Buswara, Paria, and 8 years. So it was a long term. It actually took me 22 years to prepare myself for this election. So, like as we speak now, my network, I have a huge, extensive network that covers the entire breadth and length of Northeast. So I'm very confident in going into this election. Thank you. My advice to our voters, the people of Northeast, is that if they have to vote, they must vote using their head and their heart, but not their tongue. Not their tongue, because if you vote a leader using your tongue, there'll be lost opportunities for what must be noticed electorate for the next 5 years. And your leader will never deliver to the district. And that is my advice to our people, that whoever leader or that whoever candidate that they support and they associate with, they must assess the character of the leader that they support. And they must vote wisely. Thank you.